So before I properly start this video off, I want to briefly say a few things. First off, if this is your first time being here, hello and welcome. And if it isn't then, welcome back. I appreciate you gooners and goonettes. And secondly, by the time this video has been uploaded, my wisdom teeth have been removed. And because of that, the gamer videos are probably going to take a maybe week or two hiatus, but in the meantime some animations will be uploaded. So, without further ado, let me tell you about a little game known as Mario Party DS. Back when we didn't have to worry about microtransactions and battle passes, aka when video games were considered fun, this game was the shit. Every long road trip I went on, Mario Party DS was the first game a friend and I would pull out. And sometimes Mario Party DS was the only game we'd play on those 4 to 5 hour car rides. Something about Mario Party DS was just perfect back then. Even now, when compared to the console titles, I would say it easily outclasses Mario Party 1, 8, 9, and 10. But you may be wondering, why is that? Well, it's pretty simple. As Mario Party DS is fun and enjoyable, unlike those other titles. This game has the classic and creative board design fans of the first 7 entries love so much, and all the minigames this time around are extremely high quality. Well, outside of Cherry Go Round, of course. Mario Party DS also has some really good side modes. My favorite side mode is probably Step It Up. Step It Up is a minigame competition. The goal is to see who can be the first to win either 3, 5, or 7 minigames. It really depends on the settings you choose. And after each minigame played, the characters who win the minigame gets to climb up one step of the staircase. It's a very simple but enjoyable game mode. And of course, who can forget puzzle mode? A mode where the player can play 6 puzzle action games, the majority being classics from the previous Mario Party games. Mario Party DS also has a really strong selection of items, and I love how the Monty Moles are the shopkeepers this time around. Not only is it unique to this game, but I assume it was done because Toad is playable in this title, which is nice, although I wish my boy DK was playable in this entry. And, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to rank all the boards, starting from worst to best. DK's Stone Statue. Despite the good music track for this board, it's overall the least creative board this game has to offer. And this board was never picked for multiplayer sessions, and you can't tell me otherwise. Bowser's Pinball Machine. I'm sorry, I know this is some people's favorite, and don't get me wrong, I love the idea of this board, but I just get pegged by the unlucky fairy every time I play this board. So I don't like it, nor do half the people I play with. We always seem to get screwed over by one thing or another. Kamek's Library is fun, but I don't like how the touchscreen is used when it comes to the minigame spots you can possibly land on. And sometimes, it can be confusing to navigate this board, but I guess that's part of the charm for some people. Toadette's Music Room is most people's favorite board, and I can see why. There's a lot to love about it. The theming of the music room is definitely interesting, and the concept is executed perfectly. But I've always preferred another board over this one. Alright, hear me out. Wiggler's Garden is amazing. It's a super creative board that somehow made a garden setting interesting. The layout of the board is super simple, but because of that, it makes this board super welcoming to newcomers. The touchscreen minigames and obstacles just stand out as being part of the peak Mario Party experience. But I bet you thought this would have been a properly constructed review, but you know what? This isn't just a review or a ranking video, it's also a top 15. So here's my top 15 Mario Party DS minigames, starting with Soap Surfers. This type of minigame has been done to death in the series, but unlike bumper balls, it typically doesn't end in a draw. And I don't know, this has always just been a minigame that people were happy to play. Study Fall. A very simple minigame where you press a button to stop. Person that stops closest to the bottom without going past the line wins. Again, very simple, but it's enjoyable, and it can get somewhat competitive. Big Blowout. Yeah, this minigame may not function correctly depending on the state of your DS's mic, and some people don't even like the mic minigames to begin with, but I personally like to blow. Oh, wait. Boogie Beam. You strike the poses that are asked of you. Yeah, that's pretty much it, but it's a fun little minigame, and, you know, just because it's a little simple, doesn't mean that it can't be enjoyable. Hedge Honcho is a fun touchscreen minigame where you have to move the leaves faster than the other player. Yeah, this may be higher for some people, but I always got my ass kicked at this one. Has a really cool design though, and just because of, well, the hype behind the minigame, I want to put it in at least number 11. Wompathon. You avoid the whomps, or you get squished. Simple, yet enjoyable. Sprinkler Scalers. This game is either really fun or the worst experience. It really depends on your teammate and if they know what they're doing or not. Cyber Scamper. This is a challenging but fun platforming minigame. I like the aesthetic a lot, my only problem is I find myself jumping off the edge by accident due to the depth perception at times. Cube Crushers. Yeah, this is probably most people's favorite minigame from this installment, and of course, I like it enough for it to be placed here. I just don't enjoy this minigame as much as others typically do. The gameplay is fun, being frozen kinda sucks, same with the ice physics, but to be fair, that's part of the chaotic nature that is Mario Party. And the minigame would definitely feel boring without those additions. Fast Food Frenzy. This is probably my favorite 1 vs 3 minigame in the entire Mario Party series. 3 players need to run on this conveyor belt without falling off. As that's going on, the single player has to place down different food items to either slow the opponents down or just straight up block them in their path. So if you're playing this minigame with your friends, you better hope that the one person doesn't know this minigame inside and out. Otherwise, good luck surviving more than 10 seconds. Alright, number 5, here we go. Book It. Not sure if people like this minigame as much as I do, but I find it extremely addictive to try and get the faster time each time you play it. Although, if you're playing this game with bots, don't expect your teammate to even come close to the speed that you can potentially achieve. All Geared Up is the best 2D platformer minigame in the entire Mario Party series. If you disagree with me, you'd just be considered wrong, and in the end, only my opinion matters, obviously. Dust Buddies. This is another best in the series of its kind. Like, I swear this is the only minigame in the series where when you're actually running away from something, the minigame feels fair and balanced, let alone enjoyable. Roller Coasters is by far the best controlling touchscreen minigame this game has to offer. The physics in this minigame are just the perfect mix of chaotic yet controllable. And just like Book It, I like to try and speedrun this one as fast as I can and aim for better times each time I play. So, back when I was a wee little lad, nothing was funnier to my friends and I than playing Camera Shy and getting some weird-ass photos of each other's characters. And for those memories alone, that would make this my personal favorite Mario Party DS minigame. Now, before I end off this video, I'd just like to say some things that kinda apply to myself, but might also apply to some of you. It might not be 2007 anymore, and those days from your childhood are long gone, but if you're able to find a DS and a few multiplayer games such as this one, then you might be able to have a glimpse of what it was like back then. Of course, things will never feel the same as it did when you were a kid, but there's nothing wrong with reminiscing about the simpler times. Just don't get lost in it, and forget your responsibilities in the process.